It's us. We're eating a sandwich.
Woo!
Well, we're having one each. We're not sharing. Because Wookiee doesn't share. He's very Scottish. And my Scottish blood is also very strong when it comes to sharing a sandwich.
Food.
It's mine. The corned beef. The proper food. Right. So we've just insulted and upset everyone. So, Wookiee, I put it to you. Dune is bollocks.
Why would you say such things?
It's hard to say them because trying to play good cop, bad cop hurts. Obviously, this is Podboys' Diablo version. Not that
unless we've run out of Diablo by now. In which case, it's some random other thing.
That's very sad because we're 5 episodes in, which is an hour. It's 2 hours now. No, 4 episodes. There's 2 hours into this, and there's 14 hours left of Diablo footage to go. So the chances of us running out is very, very. We're never going to end. This shit's going to go on forever. And what was I talking about? Yeah, Dune is crap because it's half-assed sci-fi. It's cliche characters about drug use, and it's something to do with Vietnam optimism. I don't know. I'm sucking this out of my thumb as I go because trying to be the bad guy in these hurts because I love these things.
I doubt it would be qualified as sci-fi trash if it was the first sci-fi novel in history to actually win a Nebula Award. No, a Hugo Award, sorry.
Awards are gay. They mean nothing.
A fair point.
They hand awards out to fucking people who have sex changes these days.
Well, it's like PewDiePie actually said in one of his videos. The awards, he won an award for something, and when he said he couldn't make the award ceremony, they issued it to someone else. So really, the whole award ceremony was using the famous people to watch our show.
Logic, yeah. That's exactly it. But, okay, Dune is crap because there's no aliens. It's overly dramatic like Game of Thrones, except with less blood. And the characters are all boring and predictable. Also, worms are crap. Why isn't it cool? Like, I don't know, sand sharks or whale fish or flying barracudan fish from space or something. Worms are boring. Counter the argument I'm sucking out of my thumb because I'm sitting there going, I like worms. I used to use them in battle all the time. But still, I'm playing bad cop.
Okay, well, I would say
it's boring.
First of all, the Fredekin went on an interplanetary genocidal jihad between books 1 and 2.
Which was fun.
So I would say it's definitely bloody and action-packed.
But you don't actually read about those.
You do if you get enough down the line.
Oh. Which is his son's. We're not talking about the son. We're talking about his original 6 books and then he died. So the original 6...
With the worst cliffhanger ever.
So we'll start off with book 1. Paul Atreides is boring and he sucks because he's a teenager. His mother is a dopey slag. Their entire family is not intelligent enough to actually prepare for the inevitable. And the Harkonnens are a bunch of underhanded, sneaky fuckers, and no one seems to have seen that coming.
Okay.
Argue.
First of all, it's not Paul's fault he's a teenager.
Blame his mother. Blame Jessica. Slut.
Blame the flow of time, which he does not yet have control over.
Sure.
Dune, the 6-book quest to show a teenager's ability to unbecome a teenager by controlling time.
True story.
Well, he survived.
Let's look at the book and the film. Okay. In the films and the books and everything, spice is the main thing in the universe. Pretty much runs the universe.
Yeah.
And the guild owns the spice, the Spacing Guild, for travel. So they're the intergalactic taxi of space and time. The Emperor rules above high, but not really. He's more an elected fuckwit.
Yeah.
Than a dictator like Louis XVI who had his head lopped off. There's also the guilds.
The guilds are the
Ordos. Who don't exist. I know, they only come in the guild. They're nice to have a third faction, though.
There's tons of factions, it's just the story revolves around... I mean, if you really go into the books, it's not just Atreides versus Harkonnen. You've got Atreides, you've got Harkonnen, you've got Carino, you've got Ix, you've got Tleilaxu.
Ix and Tleilaxu I like.
You've got the Fremen. You've got Rachis, or Raichis, or however you pronounce it. You've got...
Raichis.
You have lots of factions. It's just the Harkonnens and the Atreides are the two that are the focal point of the story.
Right. So, the Atreides and the Harkonnens. Harkonnens are underhanded, sneaky bastards who are actually militaristic power base.
Mm-hmm.
Atreides are...
a generic government with a good leader at the moment.
Yes, and they have flying ships more than anything. They're not a ground-pounding bunch like the Harkonnens. They're more a quick special forces type people. They like the war over before it starts. Whereas the Harkonnens are quite willing to throw every man, woman and child at the front line until they win. Baron Harkonnen is quite a psycho fuckwit.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't really care if he loses every person on his planet as long as he wins the war.
And has
the Atreides like to have the war. Yeah, and the Atreides like to have the war finished before it actually starts.
The Atreides
so the spice comes from one place and it's from worms' bottoms. That's stupid because it's a desert and that sucks. And why don't they take the worms off and make spice or clone spice? Why don't they use like they do in Star Trek and just magic it up in a box on the wall you shout at?
Both of those things you just said did actually happen in the books.
I know. I'm just going from the generic perspective of humanity. It's hard to put my head that far up my own ass.
Humanity, stop being dumb.
It is so hard to put your head so far up your own ass that you become the apex predator.
I mean, okay, if you were arguing from the point of view of the movies, you don't see any of the extra stuff, so yes.
And even in the special edition movie, you still don't see enough.
Mm-hmm. But...
nice hand-drawn pictures, though. That's all.
There is a point in time where the Tleilaxu do start breeding a synthetic spice. And it was under Vita, I think.
Cheap knockoff, yeah.
Which completely destroyed the spice market because now anybody could get something that gave you the same fix. There was no value to the spice. The Bene Gesserit did take the sandworms off of Dune, or off of Arrakis to Chapter House and rebred them in Chapter House. Both of these things happened before Kev Bryan took over the writing. So
I remember, I've read the books.
Also, the fact that the sandworms produced the spice was like the plot twist at the end of the first book. To suddenly say the bad things, whatever, are actually useful and beneficial and you need them.
Right, so let's go from the argument. There's been one film and 2 TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it one TV series?
It was two mini series, each of 3 episodes.
Where they compressed everything very quickly into the book and lost half the book. But anyway, the first film series.
Are we doing Lynch or the other one?
No, Jodorowsky doesn't count. He never did.
No. Are we doing Lynch or the miniseries?
We're doing both at once.
Oh, okay.
We can bounce between the two. Jodorowsky's Dune would have been amazing. It's a shame that never happened.
Yeah, when your film is going to be 13 hours long, and you're over budget before you've even filmed the first shot.
Yeah, true. But in this day and age, if it worked well, they'd probably do it because Game of Thrones has got billions for money.
The Game of Thrones is how they should make Dune as a TV series.
I agree. Long and overdrawn. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit could do the same. In fact, anything that's a book could make such a series. Trying to compress Dresden Files into half an hour does not work.
Yeah. The thing is, Dresden Files has lots of very short little chapters.
Yes.
So, with Dresden Files saying a chapter equals a series episode doesn't work because it's too varied and it's not... But yes. Dune always had very long chapters.
I remember.
And very detailed chapters.
God,
so they're one of the few books where you could actually say chapter to TV episode of a series and then a book to a season. With a little bit of chopping here and there.
We're 9 minutes in and we haven't actually said anything of value yet.
Welcome to us.
True story. Okay. The films. Let's go with Lynch's film. Lynch was awesome and the film looked nice, visually entertaining. But Paul Atreides is a puff of the highest order because he hasn't got any balls. His mother has the balls. His father is completely incompetent and dies anyway. Harkonnen is just a fat twit who shouldn't be put in charge of his own arsehole, let alone a planet that produces the most potent drug in the universe. The Emperor doesn't know what he's doing. And the Fremen are fucking Muslim jihadi nut job wannabes who just cause trouble and should be left in their desert, hit with a worm around the back of the head.
Well, that's pretty much where they came from.
No, I know. Should they got blue eyes. Blue within blue.
Yeah, well, that's because of the magic.
And Gurney Halleck is described as a horrific looking man, yet Sir Patrick Stewart's actually quite a good looking chap, and so was the guy who took over from him in the series. They definitely didn't look like the inside of someone's arsehole, as he's pretty much described in the book.
The main thing in the book...
Duncan Idaho turns out to be the universe's bitch, not some guy, minor character who then dies 5 minutes into the movie.
Technically speaking, Duncan Idaho's the Quetzalcoatl Haderach. The actual Quetzalcoatl Haderach.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, only from the Sun's books, not from...
Well, yeah, but that's where they end. Is because he's been golad so many times, and every time they do it, they improve him.
So they made their own Quetzalcoatl Haderach.
He evolves into the true Quetzalcoatl Haderach and actually causes the peace treaty between the Batarians and the humans.
Ah! So Duncan Idaho ends up as God. A guy named after the potato state ends up as God. I thought the Greeks would take over. The Atreides would rule all.
Well, he was an ally to the Atreides.
Even though they're Greek, Jürgen does seem also German. and Paul does seem very American, and the wife does seem very English.
Wasn't she Dutch?
No, what's her face? She's actually British-Brazilian. She's half and half. And Jürgen is a German, and Kyle is an American, and that's the family. Somehow they all had really retarded educators that couldn't get the family accent right.
Well, this is like 20,000 years in the future.
10,191.
Nobody even remembers that Earth exists.
Yes, they do. If you're the Quetzalcoatl Haderach, you know all. As Paul mentioned, by telling what's his face with the beard to read up about Hitler so he can learn about military rulers. Stilgar, yes, the cheese guy. I always called him Stilton at first. Stilgar, yeah, the cheese guy. Who was in... Actually, he's worked with Lynch on a number of things, and I'm looking forward to the new Twin Peaks because I love those shows. Twin Peaks is one of the best series. If you've not seen it, you better watch it before our next session, because Twin Peaks was brilliantly entertaining.
Okay.
And the new one's coming out. It's a nice mix of fantasy, sci-fi, horror, and detective story with crazy people in a small town.
Okay. But quick interjection, that's completely off topic, but fuck it.
Yes, I like a girl. I'm not gay.
That's what
There's no more cake. We ate the custard.
So, the alien, the other world in Stranger Things is based on Zdzisław Beksiński's paintings.
Ooh, your favourite artist. Yes, the crazy Polish person. I like Stranger Things. That's such a great series. In fact,
the fact that you like something modern says it must be amazing.
I do like a lot of modern stuff. I just don't like...
Generic.
Generic for one, but I don't like things where everyone has to be a pretty person. I can't stand everyone has to be a generic... That's why I don't like American TV, because it's all supermodels with no ability. Whereas a British TV, it's odd looking, it's people with bad teeth and bad hair who have all can quote Shakespeare while in their sleep. Because they're proper people, proper actors. Whereas the Americans are just a bunch of vague, good-looking fuckwits who got everywhere in life because they have perky breasts or six-packs.
Pretty much.
Hollywood does not make you an actor. Broadway makes you an actor. Sigourney Weaver, Robert De Niro, these are great American actors. They're stage trained. Sigourney Weaver was on stage for like 10 years before she did Alien. She was a veteran of stage work.
You learn the art.
That's exactly it. You learn the art of acting. That's why Alien is such a good franchise. But if you're some fuckwit who runs around in Sharknado with a big pair of tits and can barely remember your lines, you're not an actor. You're just eye candy for a film for 5 minutes.
Corey Taylor's in the new Sharknado. And he's finally made it on QI.
I know he has, episode 4.
But now...
I look forward to watching it, but Sandy Toksvig's now the host. I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like, yes, but where's Steven? I wanted to see Corey and Steven bouncing off each other.
That would have been amazing. But anyway, to bring This isn't as divergent as originally thought, because if we bring this all the way back to the
We've
original
gone
topic,
completely off topic. Standard.
the movie Alien would never have happened if Dune was not been written. Because it was Jodorowsky's attempting to make Dune.
With Dan O'Bannon and co, and that failed, and then they all met each other via
and
Jodorowsky.
Geiger.
And
They
Geiger.
met Geiger on that set. So when they went on to make their own film, they're like, yes, I like this guy's designs. Since that movie never happened, can we please put them into this movie?
Yeah, let's grab him. And I loved the late Geiger. Died falling down a staircase. It's one of the saddest things ever.
I mean,
And it wasn't even
to be
mentioned.
inside that guy's mind must have been something else.
He was an acid tripper and a half. But his skill, his artistic skill, I could never match that. It would take me 100 years to get up to that level.
That was a special kind of man.
Yeah, brilliant.
Same as
Absolutely.
Basinski. It's just that warped vision of the world that someone like that had.
I have the vision, I don't have the skill.
So it's...
I hate. That's one of the great eras. You've got people who have no skill or vision. You have people who have vision and skill, and then you have us in the middle ground. We have either the skill or the vision, or the vision. We don't have both. So we struggle constantly trying to get the vision across or the skill across.
Well, that was me the first time I tried writing my book. I had all the stuff in my head, but it got lost before it reached my hand. And I've improved that now as I'm starting to
That's
piece
actually
bits
one of
together.
the things, writing from 4925 and the other bits I've done, and what you've done for 9. It's actually helped in a way. You haven't
You
trained
get that,
to be a
you
writer.
start building the habit.
Yeah,
though.
you haven't trained to be a writer, but you've got enough practical experience to know how to put words in a way that makes
Because-
sense to you.
One thing I've always maintained is a good storyteller, or like author or TV series writer, whatever, is not someone
storyteller works.
who makes a good story. They're someone who tells the story in a good way. That's the art.
And that's an art I'm still pursuing, because that is such a difficult art to capture. That's the difference between Tolkien and Twilight. Straight there. A good storyteller and just someone who tells a story.
Yes. But anyway, let's get back to our actual topic here.
Which we're now 17 minutes in and still haven't said anything of value.
Well, we've had snippets.
We've had snippets.
Okay,
All right.
what's your next argument?
June. Obviously, all right. The entire premise of the book and everything is completely pointless because worms on Arrakis that make spice that controls the universe. Pointless concept. Why spice? Why Arrakis? Why worms? Why not have something better in the future? Why not get robots to make better, awesome stuff?
Okay. That's
I know the argument there, but yes.
Yes,
that's
that
why.
gives us a good talking point. So obviously,
Why not have supercomputers that can do it all for us?
even better place to start from. One of these days, we're going to have to find a topic where we actually have different opinions.
The only topic we can meet on there is, like, you actually like sports ball, and I personally believe anybody who likes sports should be banned from voting and or breeding. Yeah, you go to London for the money. If you cannot at least quote one thing from Gilbert and Sullivan, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. But, you know, that's just me.
Well, anyway, back to Dune. So, which actually was very ahead of its time, being written in the 60s and covering the idea of AI. But the backstory of Dune involves the thing called the Butlerian Jihad,
Yes.
which is when...
Not jihad and the nonsense, but Clarion jihad.
Yeah, so not the jihad the Fremen went on either.
No.
There's a lot of jihads in Dune.
Or the one the Americans are about to commit against Arab people once Trump becomes the Quidzac fuckwit.
But yeah, so the Butlerians were sentient machines, basically. And they turned on humanity and almost completely wiped us out.
Standard.
Which is actually where the feud between the Atreides and the Harkonnen started, because they were the two generals of the army, and the one never sent the other one the reinforcements that they needed in the battle.
Who betrayed who? Or who?
I can't actually remember now.
The idea of the Harkonnen stabbing people in the back I can see, but I can't see the Atreides doing it. But somehow it wouldn't surprise me.
I remember it was Xavier Harkonnen and somebody Atreides.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's...
And then there was Serena Butler, who was why it was called the Butlerian Jihad. That's not important right
What's
now.
important is the visuals that are happening of these demons getting their heads chopped off.
Maybe. I mean, you could be at the shop right now.
I don't have a clue. It's
We're not
16 hours.
actually watching the Diablo while we record this, by the way.
Yeah, that's actually quite a retarded thing that we're not doing. Should actually just have it happening in the background. It's a good
but it's
idea.
not going to synchronize.
Doesn't matter. At least we can have a general idea of what's going on. All right, Butlerian Jihad. Yes. So the machines
because-
almost killed us all.
Yeah. So that made the thing that machines are illegal, which is what to me makes Dune cool. Is it's a sci-fi story that doesn't have fancy technology. We have very basic, very primitive technology. We just live on lots of planets and have analog spaceships.
Analog space. Oh, that's the Sacred Toilet video I just found there.
The Sacred Tunnel?
The Sacred Toilet. You're the one who sent that to us, and poor old Morphman lost the will to live playing that bloody game.
That was a fun find.
Not for him. But yeah, that's about where we are at the moment. This is about where my necromancer's running around being attacked.
The Necromancer was announced yesterday as coming to Diablo 3.
Oh, finally.
And
I hate Diablo 3, it sucks.
Diablo 2 will always be God. That can be
Diablo 2 Demon Hunter, though. Diablo the Demon Hunter, the movie. That should be entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
They did interview the French people involved. So it's the idea of a Frenchman going, stay a while, and listen, monsieur. Just slightly confuzzling. But, yes, so the Butlerian Jihad stopped technology taking over.
And the spice basically gave the humans super mind powers that allowed us to essentially do the complex calculations that machines had previously been used for, and also made the people trip balls, which gave them the ability to navigate through the vast void of space. So basically computers turned on us, we destroyed them, we weren't allowed to have new ones, so we had to get off our face on weird space drugs to replace them.
Everything about that is just perfect, actually. Sounds wonderful. Right, okay.
But
so
also you were
that's
going
because-
into the thing about worms and deserts and things.
Yeah, what the hell? Why not just mass produce worms on every planet, and why not just make your own spice out of kneecaps or something?
Well, we've already covered the fact that both those things did get tried eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yes.
But first of all, the idea of the desert was because Frank Herbert was an ecologist, and he was very interested in desertification, I think is the term.
Yes.
But basically the encroaching of desert into landscape and trying to counteract that. And
If memory serves, he got the whole idea for Dune flying over Oregon,
yeah, and he saw the desert encroaching.
which confused me because I thought Oregon was just nothing but a green state. But to realise that there's actually desert into the state of Oregon, because I've always associated Oregon with like Bigfoot and the big green trees.
I
and that
always
kind of
associate
wilderness.
Oregon to the Oregon Trail, which is a cowboy game with a wagon. So I think
That was
very
also a
desert.
classic, yes.
So I, because of that, think desert.
The opposite to
because cowboys
me,
are in
yes.
desert. But yeah,
They're in
and
the
all the
desert,
research that Herbert did into ecology and everything very much influenced. That's why Lietkind is doing the research to regrow the plant life on the planet, and the fact that when you then get the plot twist that the sandworm worms produce the spice, is like you can either get the ecosystem of the planet back, but then you lose the spice. And do you want to do that, or do you have to let this planet be dead so that the one life form on it can actually repopulate it? It gives you a nice little conflict of interest and a dynamic story.
Yes.
On top of the political backstabbing with the emperor, who was paranoid, so he played on the feud between the other two people to play them against each other for his own gain and to keep them from turning on himself. And
Don't breathe in when you drink. That's what's happening. You've taken in too much air. That's why it sounds like you're dying. Okay, so they did that. It's hard to try and rip off something you like. Alright, the Quintax Saddleback. What the hell's the point of Paul and his idiotic family? If they're supposed to be God, why don't they just do God stuff and do God things and rule the universe like God?
because
Why do they end up as a giant fucking worm that ends up falling off a bridge and getting shot anyway by his own clone?
well, like you had described earlier, Well, like I mentioned earlier, actually. Sorry, I started watching the Diablo video and got distracted.
It's intense stuff, actually.
It's because it's like a modded version, so I don't recognize all the stuff.
It's the Midian 11.1 mod, I think. So it's an incredibly extreme aggressive mod. I think Morphman and I were level 3 within about 5 minutes in playing this game.
Nice.
It's that fast and aggressive. It's a high end. It's an extreme mod. If you took your normal Diablo character in there, he'd be dead within 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It's a heavy duty extreme mod.
Cool.
So I've just leveled up again while we're talking.
And it's like all new skills and stuff, I see.
Yeah, they've reworked the skill tree, they've reworked your potion trees, all sorts.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah, so first of all, if you've actually read through the entirety of the series...
Which there is none, because it just keeps going and going and going. His son's writing, and then his son dies, some other person will write.
But even if you... Paul is suspected to be the Kwisatz Haderach, but he isn't. If you only count the canon of Senior Herbert, of the original 6
The original
books,
6, yes.
then Leto the Second is the Kwisatz Haderach.
His son, yes.
If you account to the entirety of the series, you find out that actually Duncan Idaho is the true Kwisatz Haderach. So, Paul, and this is also going into a lot of the intermingling of politics and religion that Herbert covers.
Yes, well, I'm talking about Herbert Senior,
where Paul is the
Morphman being chased by mushrooms. Probably not synced up correctly, folks. It's either just happened or is going to happen. But yeah, Morphman got chased by mushroom people. That's a new thing in the game. But
so Paul knows this whole theory and story and whatever. Mm-hmm. He's in a bad situation, and when the Fremen find him and Jessica play on the mythology that's there and use it to their own benefit, as it were.
Okay.
They take advantage of this mythology to suit themselves into that role to gain the help of these people.
Paul has the weirding way, but he learned that from Mummy.
Yes.
And he has a few other skills that you're
Which isn't actually megaphone guns.
Oh. I like the megaphone guns. You say your name and legs get blown off.
Think Lynch just didn't like the idea of space ninjas.
I like space ninjas. They're cool.
But yeah, that's...
So he learned that from his mommy, but in general his actual skill is irrelevant.
Yeah, he's basically just learned the Bene Gesserit ways of manipulation from Lady Jessica.
And so his mommy taught him forbidden tech.
Yeah, basically.
Forbidden skills. Okay. And then his son becomes the worm god of hell, and then falls off a bridge and dies. Because
water is toxic to sandworms, and
he fell in the
Leto
water.
became some weird sandworm hybrid.
Yes, he did. And he had fish speakers. Weird name for an army.
Yes. Well, I think it did explain where it came from, but I've forgotten it.
So have I. I've completely forgotten.
You haven't gotten to the point where it's actually revealed what the fish speakers are, hey?
I've gone through all 6 books, that's all. I haven't read any extended stuff.
Do you want to know?
Tell me. I won't read the extended stuff for another 10, 15 years.
Okay.
I have so much other crap to read.
So, you've...
I'm reading Moby Dick, for God's sake.
I'm sorry.
And Dickens. So you try and read Charles Dickens without actually losing the will to live. I love his work, but God, he turd me.
So you know that when Leto dies, everybody fucks off because the ban on space travel was lifted.
Yes, and
then
therefore
thousands of layers later they
the
come
horny
back.
mattress people, as I've always called them.
the
honored mattress. Yeah, the horny mattress ladies.
They and a whole bunch of other people come back, which are like the descendants of these various cultures that have now branched on their own evolutionary path. So like the Afrikaans versus the Dutch.
Yeah, well, the whole of humanity in Dune. There's no aliens. There's just humans who have become alien to each other through cultural...
But it's like it's the Tlalaksu and all these people who left who've now come back, but they're different from their counterparts because they've had like 1,000 years of separate evolution, as it were.
French and the English.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Normans.
Yeah. And basically, you remember the Tlalaksu breed stuff in the Tlalaksu flesh flats?
Yes.
So the Tlalaksu flesh flats were basically women.
Oh.
Basically, if you read through the books again, you'll realize you never meet a female Tleilaxu.
That I do remember.
Because women are things to them. So a girl is not even like educated or anything. They keep her until she's childbearing age. Then they put her into a coma and randomly inseminate her with whatever, and she is the flesh vat.
So an extremist religious group, essentially Muslim or Christian, it's the ideas of most religious people.
Yeah.
But that explains that. So Duncan, Idaho has technically been birthed from 1,000 different mothers.
Yeah, and genetically improved each successive time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Tleilaxu flesh vats were actually just women in brain dead women in comas that existed for no other purpose than to give birth. So now the
Penises.
The fish speakers. Well, the honored matres are essentially So the fish speakers were like Leto's elite guard,
Yes.
who were all women.
Yes.
Then when everybody did their departure thing, these like militaristic women found out about this practice and basically freed all the female Tleilaxu, which is what became the honored matres.
So the other metro are Tleilaxu, technically.
Technically. They're the descendant of the Tleilaxu women who were freed and then taught Bene Gesserit skills.
Hell hath their fury like a pissed off breeder.
Pretty much.
Fucking no wonder Shorty's always in trouble. That stupid frog-looking arsehole. What's his name? It's not Skytail, it's the other one.
Tlylith Wyn.
Yeah, the one in charge.
Yeah, Tlylith Wyn.
Yes. What?
Very Welsh sounding one.
Very Welsh. What a complete moron. It's probably from the south. It's from Rhondda. Will explain many things you see. Okay.